to make sure that all of them are in one class, all of them are like you can accommodate them. The fast learners and the slow learners, you can accommodate them. So I have some few questions that I wanted to ask you. But first, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, that's very nice. I'm Wenina Alice. I'm my teacher in this school. It's like I'm a friend, right? Yeah, you can ask me questions.
Okay. Okay, the first question I wanted to ask you, like, can you share the perspective on the importance of understanding the intelligence level of learners in education setting?
Okay, thank you. With that one, it's the foundation of effective differentiation. That is understanding the learners. Realistically, you understand the learners' level of intelligence. With that, you're able to differentiate each, and you give relative expectations according to each and every student. For example, when handling a fast learner, you are in a position to handle them in such a way that they don't get bored due to teaching maybe the same thing or something they're able to capture very fast. And then you're also in a position to maybe handle maybe the slow learners, whereby you ensure that you're with them so that they don't get confused in the classes and such. So you create that environment whereby the fast learners are able to capture, like you give them a content in which they are able to maybe catch up with or follow up, and then the slow learners, you give them a content whereby they are able to understand and therefore they are able to concentrate with the class, and with that you're able to ensure there is no boredom and at the same time there is no confusion in the class.
That's great. The second question, I wanted to ask you that, in your experience, how does knowledge of a student intelligence level influence your teaching approach and strategies?
Okay, with that, it shifts me from a lecturer, from being just a lecturer to a facilitator. That is, if I know a student has a high logical mathematical intelligence but struggles in linguistic languages, I will use more diagrams and flowcharts to explain a concept rather than relying only on textbooks or the theories. That is, I'll be able to use maybe the flowcharts and that to explain to the such a student.
So now, question number 3: what are the benefits of knowing the intelligence profile of students, both in terms of individuals, instructions, and classroom management?
Okay, when it comes to that, when you're giving instructions, you make sure that you're able to handle both the students, whereby you make sure that when you're handling maybe the sharp students, you give respective assignments. Let's say you give more complex assignments whereby they are able to, which they're able to handle, and then when you're handling maybe the slow learners, you try to give maybe lighter questions, some lighter assignments with which they are able to handle with the respective time. And when it comes to management, maybe when you're doing the shuffling, when you're shuffling them, when you're doing the groups, you make sure you shuffle them in such a way that the assignment, maybe if the assignment is the same and if the effect is the same, you make sure the students and the sharp ones and the slow learners are shuffled in such a way that the slow learner is able to guide maybe the sharp one is able to guide the slow learners in such a way that they're able to handle that the assignment accordingly, therefore enhancing that the sharp ones are not bored and the slow learners are not left out due to maybe confusion, and thus enhancing discipline in the class.
The last question, I wanted to ask you, how do you currently assess the intelligence level of your students? Are there any specific tools or methods that you find particularly effective?
Okay, there are some tools that are particularly effective. For example, you can use observation. You observe your students, the way they react, the way they respond to the assignments. So you can use the observation. You observe your students and you know each and everyone's ability. So that is on the side of observation, that you see how they perform and all that. Another way is you can use, another tool is practicals. You can engage them in practical activities whereby if they're not that good in theories, they can portray their abilities through practical activities. And then you can also use exit ticket. This is whereby you ask the students maybe some questions as they go out, maybe through that they're able to answer accordingly as they exit the classes. And then another way, another tool that you can also use is through the formative exam, that these students who don't catch up with the classes or the activity of the exam, the questions very fast. So you give them the formative exams. That's where they are able to study with the time, and then at the end of the day, they are able maybe to, like, you give them the exams and then they do the exams and you'll see their results and all that. They're able to assess them and you're able to know each and every student's abilities.
That's great. So, Madam Alice,
Yes.
so I really thank you for your time and for your cooperation. You really assist me on this. It will help me to now know how to handle my students in future.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Yeah.